The one thing is the president's going to need to be in good shape if he's going to finish strong and get 4 more years in the White House. No doubt about it, because people have a lot of questions about his health. And I'll tell you, I watched Bernie Sanders over the weekend. He's older. I think he's older than Joe Biden. Or maybe, he looks fine. No, if Bernie Sanders was president, God forbid, but if he was ever president, no one would be talking about age because he's fine.
That was one of the headlines on another network. They were asking Bernie Sanders advice for Joe Biden about age.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But we know he's got his approval rating's low. So Biden's job approval on Joe Biden, that is, his job approval on the economy, which is key because it's the #1 issue for everyone, is 37%. And the question was asked of Fox News pollsters, has Joe Biden made the economy better or worse? 25% said better.
But here's the number right here. Close to 70% of Democrats say that Joe Biden is too old. And that is one of the reasons, Brian, why over the weekend, Bernie Sanders actually returned to New Hampshire. And there was some speculation, well, maybe Joe's not going to be the nominee. Bernie is saying that he's backing Joe Biden. But keep in mind, Bernie Sanders won New Hampshire, the primary, in 2016 and 2020. So when he went to St. Anselm's College for that speech, people are going, you know what, he wouldn't be so bad, even though they say he's not the guy. In the meantime, who is the guy? We were telling you a couple of weeks ago about how on the Sean Hannity show, essentially Ron DeSantis took up a challenge from Governor Newsom. They will debate on the Sean Hannity show, the governor of California versus the governor of Florida. But now it turns out that the Biden-Harris people feel it is disrespectful. And in particular, they feel like Mr. Newsom is running a shadow campaign to oust Joe Biden. And then you got the Harris people. They see it as an attempt by Newsom to position himself ahead of Kamala Harris for 2028.
Well, Gavin Newsom sat down with Sean back in June, and that's when the question was asked, would you ever consider debating Ron DeSantis? And in that interview, Gavin Newsom continuously talked about how he supports Joe Biden. He is not running for president. And we all watched the interview and we said, wait, but he's probably waiting in the wings because if Joe Biden decides not, just in case.
Plan B.
Exactly. The problem is his record in California. He might look the part. He might have a lot of experience. The record in California is going to be hard for him. But then Sean interviewed Ron DeSantis, and he said, you heard that he wants to debate you. He'll give you 2 hours, 3 hours. And he said, will you take the challenge? And he said, yes. So if you didn't see those 2 interviews, here they are.
You would do a 2-hour debate with Ron DeSantis?
I would make it 3.
3-hour debate with
Yeah, make it.
I mean,
4. And do it with 1 day notice with no notes. I look forward to that.
You heard Gavin make the offer. Your answer is?
Absolutely. I'm game. Let's get it done. Just tell me when and where.
A great opportunity is going to be for both these guys. No doubt about it. I think it's going to be excellent. Is it got to be more than 1 hour? Can he talk to Greg Gutfeld about taking the night off and maybe go from 9 to 11?
I don't know if they've worked out the time yet. I don't think they've worked out how long it will be. Maybe they have.
Or where it's going to be.
They're negotiating right now,
live
going
audience.
back and forth. But it's going to happen, yeah.
Right. So it'll be great. And to tell you the truth, Kamala Harris, how low is her self-esteem to be worried about Governor DeSantis? Hey, I'm the vice president on the presidential ticket. Now it's insulting behind the scenes. They're a little upset by it. And the reason is essentially people have been watching the president being more comfortable on vacation. There's no comment on Hawaii after that disaster. You see how out of his element he is. He does not want to do any interviews. All of them create negative, seem to create negative.
And Nikki Haley keeps saying a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for Kamala Harris. And I don't think she's wrong, only because when you look at him on stage or when you look at him when he's traveling, that's a possibility.
Well, I just think
might not. He might drop out.
I just think that when this debate takes place, they're going to be, given the fact that we started this segment by talking about how 70% of Democrats think that Joe is too old. When you look at Ron DeSantis and Governor Newsom going head to head, if you're a Democrat, you're thinking, that young guy, why isn't he our guy?
Right.
But it's because it's not his turn.
Well, when you ask people what resonated with Vivek on the stage, many of them said he's young, he's fresh. It's just a new face, someone we don't know. We really don't know. So
he came in hot.
The youth, and he keeps saying, I'm twice, and he says, I'm twice as young as Joe Biden.
I think one of the funniest things I heard all weekend was Ro Khanna said the problem with Joe Biden is his staff is too controlling. They should let Joe be Joe. Good luck with that. Go ahead. Let him go out there. Go ahead. We can't wait for that. I've got my VCR on play record. I'm ready to depress both. That'll be Let Joe Be Joe.
Joe mentioned.
We will add that to the montage reel. Everything we see from here.
From now on, listen to Roe. Let Joe be Joe.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.